You hear about it all the time, right? Data breaches, privacy scandals. It feels like our personal info is just out there. But what if you could actually be part of the solution? Today, we're going to lay out a roadmap, a clear path into a career in data privacy. And let me tell you, it's one of the hottest fields out there right now.
So here's what we've got on the docket today. We're going to start with the why. Like, why is this field exploding right now? Then we'll get into the how. We'll walk through a learning journey, try to make sense of all those regulations, and, this is the important part, see how you take all that theory and actually use it. And then we'll wrap it up by talking about how to build a real strategy. Sound good? Let's dive in. Okay, let's start with the big picture. Why data privacy? And why now? Well, it feels like it's everywhere, right? And for good reason. We've kind of hit this tipping point. You know, every single click, every purchase, every little thing you do online, it all creates data. And finally, everyone, companies, you, me, we're all waking up to the fact that this stuff needs to be protected. Seriously. I mean, just think about it for a second. Healthcare, banking, even just shopping online, it's all powered by data. Every single industry. And that's exactly why the demand for people who know this stuff, privacy pros, is just through the roof. This isn't some little corner of the IT department anymore. Nope, this is a crucial part of how businesses run, period. And here's the really cool part. You don't need to be a lawyer or a coder to get into this. It doesn't matter if you're a student or maybe you're looking to switch careers from something totally different like marketing. The skills you need, they're totally learnable. Basically, if you've got a curious mind and you care about this stuff, the door is wide open. Okay. So it's a huge opportunity, but let's be real. Where do you even begin? This field is massive and you can get lost pretty easily. That's why having a roadmap, a clear plan to follow is so incredibly important. It's like having a map and a guide all in one. So this learning journey we're talking about, it's all about being practical. We're not talking about memorizing a bunch of dense legal jargon, okay? It's a step-by-step guide that starts with the basics, the what and the why, and takes you all the way to the how. How to actually do this stuff in a real job. So let's break down this path. It's basically 4 key steps. Step 1, you've got to get a handle on the rules of the game. All those global regulations. Then, step 2, you'll learn how to spot trouble before it starts. That's risk assessment. Next up, it's all about people and their rights, what we call DSR. And finally, you'll learn to build the systems that manage all of this, like consent. See? It all builds on itself, one step at a time. All right, let's tackle that first step. And honestly, this is the one that scares a lot of people off, the regulations. This is where you jump into that alphabet soup of laws from all over the world. You've got GDPR in Europe, CCPA in California. It can feel like a tangled web for sure. Okay, so one of the first big concepts you got to get is something called DSR. It stands for Data Subject Rights. Here's what it means in plain English. It's your right, your legal right, to go to a company and ask, hey, what data do you have on me? And not just that, but to say, you know what, I want you to delete it. It's all about putting you back in control of your own information. So, if DSR is about your rights, then consent management is how companies actually honor those rights. It's the whole system they use for asking for your permission, keeping a record of it, and managing it over time. And believe me, if a company gets this wrong, they don't just face fines, they completely shatter the trust people have in them. And that leads us to a really, really important point. A big shift in how you need to think about this. Privacy compliance is a continuous journey, not a final destination. And that's so true. It's not like you just check a box and you're done. No way. With new tech and new threats popping up all the time, you have to constantly be learning and adapting. Honestly, that's what makes this whole field so exciting. Okay, so knowing all the rules and definitions, that's great. It's the foundation. But the real test, where the rubber meets the road, is actually applying it. So let's talk about how we go from just knowing things to actually doing things, how we build the tools to bridge that gap. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
I mean, it's one thing to read a book or take a test. It's another thing entirely to know what to do when a real crisis hits. When the alarms are going off, the pressure is on, and a lot is on the line. What do you do then?
And this is where a roadmap like this becomes incredibly valuable, because it's not just about theory, it's about practice. The journey includes things like simulated crises. You get thrown into a realistic, high-pressure situation where you have to make decisions, but, and this is key, without any of the real-world consequences. Think of it like a flight simulator for privacy pros. It's how you get ready for the real thing.
And it's not just about those big simulations. The idea is to build up a whole toolkit you can use every day. We're talking about hands-on exercises to build muscle memory, live demos of the actual tools the pros use, and super practical stuff like templates and checklists that you can literally take and use on the job from day one.
So you've navigated the tricky world of regulations. You've started building your practical toolkit. Now you get to the final and maybe most important stage, building a strategy. This is where you really make that leap. You go from being someone who just follows the rules to someone who designs the entire system. You become the architect.
Right? Because the ultimate goal here isn't just to be able to talk about privacy concepts. It's to be able to build something, to build a custom compliance strategy from the ground up that fits your organization like a glove. Because every company is different, and a one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't work.
So, at the end of a journey like this, what do you actually walk away with? Well, you've got a real handle on global regulations. You're a pro at assessing risk. You've got go-to strategies for handling DSR and consent. And, the big one, you have the frameworks, the blueprints, to build a seriously strong privacy program yourself.
And as we start to wrap this up, I want to bring it back to that idea we talked about earlier. Remember that this is an ongoing process. This field is always moving. There are always new technologies, new rules, which means you have to always be learning, always adapting. And yeah, that can be a challenge, but that's also what makes a career in this space so incredibly rewarding.
So, we've laid out the map. The next steps? Well, that journey is up to you. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What's the first step on your privacy journey? What's one thing you can do today to get started? Thanks so much for tuning in.